So let me introduce myself. My name is Keyshawn Dawes. I'm the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club, and it's like the hair club for men. I am not only, I am also a lifelong member of the club. I came here when I was 7, and along with myself, my brother here, Michael Smith, this is his second home. We grew up in the Boys and Girls Club back in the 80s, and we've stayed close all the way through. So I know you guys know a little bit about his famous resume, and you guys are impressed. Everybody that knows Michael was like, we told you so. We knew. We are very humbled and happy and proud of Michael, but we also knew this was his mission, that God placed him where he is. So with that being said, I want to thank you and welcome you to the Boys and Girls Club Family Center. We are being streamed on Focus Springfield and our local access TV channels here in Springfield. We have a community conversation with Michael Smith, the new CEO of AmeriCorps National, and we are glad to have him home in Springfield. And people always laugh because when we see each other, we continuously laugh at each other because we're so impressed with each other.
Or shocked.
And very shocked. On top of that, being shocked because of where we are as grown men and, great service to not only our city, but our country. With Michael being back in Springfield, I get goosebumps because it's almost like you're seeing your brother come back and you haven't seen him in a while, but you're always happy to share stories. So I know the passion that we have here in the city of Springfield at the Boys and Girls Club Family Center, Michael always has that and will bring that to AmeriCorps, and also the respect and love to the city of Springfield with the organization. But with that being said, because he is home, we have his shirt for him that he can wear. And on the back,
I love that.
And on the back is a saying called "Keeping It 100" because we are 100 Acorn Street.
That's right.
And this is where we're staying. So with that, I'm gonna turn this over to Michael Smith and enjoy the conversation.
Keyshawn, thank you so much. I say it's shocking. It is weird being in this room where I sat cross-legged learning like camp songs, 30 some odd or years ago. So it is crazy. And so to think, Keyshawn and I grew up in Keystone Club together. We were just little kids. And so he brought up Mr. Dawson. When I think about these big shoes that Keyshawn is filling, I can't believe we're adults and people let us run things. That is someone should have gotten the message that how that happened. But it's wonderful to be here, and I'm just so grateful to Keyshawn, grateful for his leadership, grateful for his love of his people and of this community. Grateful for the way he works and perseveres. Keyshawn turned this agency around from a time where we weren't sure what the future of this agency was going to be. He brought the history and the culture back into this agency, which was so incredibly important. And I know Mr. Dawson and Mr. Barry and Carol are smiling down, thankful that one of the club kids is here doing this work right now. And I just also think, it has been so important to me to be able to give back to the community that raised me. But I don't live here, right? I found another community that I live in now, and Keyshawn is here day in and day out with our children and families, making sure that they can become the next hymns. And I thank you, my brother, for your service and your friendship.
Thank you. Nice. So before you go on, Mike, I do want to thank my staff that's here. I have my Director of Operations, Charles Branch, and the real Executive Director, Zara. We have one of our Springfield FC soccer coaches that's here. Name slips my mind, I'm sorry.
Rodney Lozado.
We also have our Program Director, Raven Jemison. And also two of our board members and a possible third, which I am so happy to welcome, but Barbara Smith, Sandra Shaw, and Vanessa Ford. And like Michael said, there's one guy that's here that I always try to make proud. And I'm happy that he's here today, that's Andrew K. Thank you, so I will turn that back over to you.
Thank you, sir. Why don't we start with introductions? I think the program for today, I'll make some opening remarks, talk a little bit about my path, about AmeriCorps, and we will then hear a testimonial from our partners at Springfield College that are running AmeriCorps programs, and then we'll open it up for dialogue. But why don't we start with introductions, just your name, your affiliation, where you're from, and maybe just quickly what made you come out today. Emily, you want to kick us off?
Sure, I guess so. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Emily Haber. I'm the CEO at the Massachusetts Service Alliance. So we are partners with our federal AmeriCorps agency, but we're a not-for-profit organization, but we act as your state commission for service and volunteerism, bringing resources out to organizations across the whole state that want to engage volunteers and core members to help them meet their mission. So I know we have partnered with a number of folks here today, but really looking forward to saying hi to you and also getting to know any organizations that don't know who we are. So I don't know if there'll be a few minutes a little bit later just to share a little bit more about what MSA does, but I don't want to do that now so we can make sure that we get to meet everybody. But thank you for having me join you today.
Hey everybody, I'm Rob Glazer. I'm the regional administrator for AmeriCorps' Northeast region, and really I'm here today because Michael's here. I saw what was planned for the event, and I thought it's a fantastic opportunity for us to, in the Northeast region, to continue to develop our expertise and learn about Springfield and learn about what you all do and why you do it. Pleasure to be here.
Mr. Cade.
All right, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Andrew Cade. I am Senior Vice President of the Urban League of Springfield, also the Director of the Foster Grandparent Program, one of the AmeriCorps programs, and also previously I was the Director of the Retired Senior Volunteer Program. And so I'm here today because, again, Michael is here, and of course my portfolio manager is here somewhere, Mary Lee. Mary Lee is here.
And for those of you who don't know Mr. Cade, if you cannot tell by his voice, he's a longtime radio personality as well.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
My name is Daryl Williams. I am the District Director of State Rep Bud Williams. He wasn't able to be here today, so I'm here on his behalf. Just here to see Mike. Good to see you again. I used to be a counselor here at the Veterans Center in the days when you were in Key River. So.
Well, yep, how about that?
Hi everyone, I'm Campbell Hart. I'm the Director of Middle and High School Programs at Girls Inc. of the Valley. I've been in this role for a couple of months now. I'm here because our Executive Director asked me to be. And also we receive funding, I believe, with Service Alliance that supports our Teen Advocacy Board as well as our Eureka College Readiness Program.
So this organization previously was one of the founding girls clubs, the predecessor of Girls Inc. I think the Family Center was founded in 1899.
One of the oldest clubs.
As a place for kids to take baths, poor children, girls to take weekly baths. I think it was your weekly bath, because at least once. And then eventually they added in, and I know it's not today, but. We called this the Girls Club when I was growing up, and so glad to see Girls Inc. still in the mix.
My name is Andrea Holden, and I'm the director of the Senior Companion Program at the Valley Opportunity Council. We serve Chicopee and Holyoke, but have volunteers from everywhere around here. So I've been in the role for about a year. Actually, this will be my year anniversary.
Yes,
I am
happy
also
anniversary.
here, thank you. I am new to working in service. My background is higher education, and I am just so excited to be here because I have to tell you, every time since the first time I heard you, I was so inspired, and I tell your story to every volunteer, to everybody I recruit, that the head of AmeriCorps comes from these communities here in the Western Mass, and so I always say that.
Thank you.
Okay. So my name is Ayanna Crawford. I am a resident here in Springfield. I went to the Girls Club here, Acorn Street, as a 7-year-old. and I paid 50 cents for my membership.
It was $1 when I came around.
With my card, and every time I came in, they checked it off with my 50 cents. And I lived right down the street on Acorn Street. Mary Barksdale is my grandmother. She had a nursing home at the end of the street back in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. And I'm also a former Springfield Public School teacher of over 20 years. And I'm a mother, grandmother, and now I am the Chief of Staff for Representative Orlando Ramos for the 9th Hamden District.
All right.
And I'm excited to be here.
Hi all, I'm Sean Mangan. I'm the Assistant Director at the SC AmeriCorps program. I'm here because I'm a Springfield native. I came up through Springfield Public Schools, and I love the work that our members are doing in the schools and community organizations.
Where'd you graduate from?
Central.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, I'm Ginger Elliott. I'm a volunteer coordinator for RSVP of the Pioneer Valley, which is an AmeriCorps senior program. I also served with AmeriCorps through Springfield College. This is an old shirt. With their early literacy program 4 and 5 years ago, which was an awesome experience as well. I did not grow up in Springfield. I grew up in the Boston area, but I've lived in Springfield for many years. And I'm here today to say hello to some old friends, meet some new ones, and thank you for the invitation.
I'm Amy Drew. I'm the Executive Director of Greater Springfield Habitat for Humanity, and I am here because we utilize AmeriCorps members in most all of our construction builds. We've had VISTA and CCC national members coming out, and so they're a big part of helping us to meet our mission and build houses in the community.
Beautiful.
I'm Katura Mahdi. I am a news director, CEO of Reflecting Waters Holistic Healing Center. It is a counseling center, also providing services and holistic counseling, holistic healing, Reiki, massage therapy, acupuncture. I'm here to network and also to see Michael. It's been a while, through your aunt, Josie. So, just here to gather information. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Hi, everyone. I'm Vanessa Ford, a lifelong member of Springfield and also a lifelong member of the Boys and Girls Club Family Center. I feel like this is a wonderful day to just embrace the fact that Michael is here to share with us. I'm a vocal faculty member of the Community Music School Springfield and also the program director of Trust Transfer Project. And that's a new initiative that was birthed in the pandemic. And we mobilize artists of color to create artistic messages that
That's how I know.
Hi, Ginger. So we just, we try to get the word out and utilize the gifts of the community to heal the community and to bring vaccine confidence to communities of color and to help spread the word of hope and healing and that all things are possible. And so we're trying to engage more of community members and activate their purpose and really give everybody a chance to serve in the community for all of our well-being. And I'm here with my colleague and partner, the amazing Karen Finn, who is the Executive Director of Springfield Cultural Partnership. And she is one of the founding members of Trust Transfer Project as well. I'm so proud to work with her. She's my sister in community care, and we just strive to bring everyone to a life of service.
Okay, where do I begin? First, I too am an alumni of the Girls Club Family. It was known back in the 70s and grew up in Amour Village and couldn't wait to run up here after we got home from school to do that. And then I also sit on the board of directors here at the Boys and Girls Club, thanks to Keyshawn and the wonderful work that he's doing, which brought me to want to serve here at the club to make a difference in the community. I also sit on other boards and try to be very active in the community. And last but definitely not least, Michael Smith-Beerley, you're what brought me here as well, to see the little boy I watched grow up and come into this terrific man that makes a difference all over the nation, not just here in Springfield. It's great to say, I know him, and he's making a difference, you know, with all the work he's done. So, love you.
I'm Barbara Smith. I am also a Girls Club alum. I was raised in Springfield. I'm a new board member of the Boys and Girls Club Family Center. I'm happy to be on the board and looking forward to all the experience that I'm going to gain. And I'm also here for Michael because I was told to come. Michael is my stepson.
And I was so excited when she told me she was joining the board. It made me so happy.
I'm Tyke Smith. I'm a weatherization tech, and I'm also Michael's nephew. And I came because I had a presentation at my former trade school with him, and came alongside to see all of the fruits from his journey.
And a Youth Build alum.
I'm next here. I'm Michael Smith Sr. So I'm here for moral support and watch Michael's journey continue since day one, technically.
Wow.
If you change your son's diapers, you have to be here for his presentation.
There was a visual, Michael.
My name is Will Stoudemire. I'm with NPDM, an accounting firm. I work with Keyshawn and I work with Urban League, and I'm here to network and meet new people.
Okay. My name is Jennifer Match. I'm the District Director for Senator Eric Lesser, and I'm just here to support him, as well as you, Michael, of course. But I'm happy to be here.
My name is Karen Ben, and Vanessa, my sister Vanessa, was kind enough to let me know about this event, and I didn't know Michael growing up, but feel like it from all the stories that Vanessa has tucked away. I run the Springfield Cultural Partnership that oversees the cultural district, and am really lucky to work with the majority of the people in this room in varying ways, but I also like to learn what's going on so that I can contribute to the positive grapevine of passing the word around Springfield to other organizations and artists. So thank you.
I'm Jennifer Kinsman. I'm the Director of Community Impact for United Way of Pioneer Valley. We've had AmeriCorps Vista members for many years, 2 places I've worked. And I'm hoping that next year I'll get to work with some Commonwealth Corps members through MSI.
Denise Cartman, Springfield School Volunteers, and we actually went, along with Jennifer, through Mass Service Alliance's Service Enterprise certification program, and they invited us here, so always happy to partner and be among partners. We have seen lots of friends around the room. Thanks for the invite.
Chelsea Ross. I'm here to support my oldest grandson.
That's the most important person.
The most important person. And I've been trying to convince her to think about AmeriCorps seniors for quite some time. So for all of the foster grandparents, senior companion, RSVP experts, she's smart, she's sharp, people love her. Like let's make her an AmeriCorps senior.
I'm Charles Branch, Director of Operations. This is Zahara. Say hi.
Hi, Zahara.
How you doing, everybody? My name is Rodney Lozada. I'm the sporting director for Springfield FC, local youth club, along with Charles Branch. We assist and help and partner with the Boys and Girls Club to just provide another option for kids to just, you know, be athletic, be active out there. Thank you, everybody.
Hi guys, so I'm Raven, I'm the program director for here.
Senator.
All right. Hi, everybody. Eric Lesser, I'm the State Senator for the 1st Hampden, Hampshire District. I apologize. I'm going to have to jump in a second. It's parent-teacher conferences, so I'm not sitting. But I have the honor of carrying the Mass Service Alliance Amendment every year at the State House, and I really appreciate Emily's partnership. And also have done a lot of work around Massachusetts Boys and Girls Clubs. Keisha and I have done a lot of statewide advocacy for funding for the Boys and Girls Clubs. And Director Smith, I just wanted to show respect to you to be here and pop by, because we've kind of circled each other for a long time, but I followed your career for a very, very long time and really admire you. And honestly, it just is so great to see somebody from Springfield, from Western Mass, in the position you're in and the impact you're having. So welcome home. But I just want you to know how much we appreciate it and how much we admire it. So.
Well, I definitely feel like I know you. It's like, you know, especially with Herbie. And so
I took a picture to send it.
It means so much that you came out, absolutely. And I'm just so grateful the way that you support our community. Before the senator leaves, we should grab a group photo. But
I'm only a senator for 8 more weeks.
We still want the photos. Justin,
how's everything, Mike? How you doing?
Good.
Justin Harris, Springfield City Council. Mike, appreciate you coming back. Appreciate all of the work that you do. Appreciate the work that you did with the My Brother's Keeper program, as well as what you're doing right now for AmeriCorps. City of Springfield needs you. We're proud that you're in the position that you're in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wish your wife was here, but you're a good second choice.
That's typically what people say.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you for your leadership, brother.
Thank you.
Just introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alicia Garcia Sierra. I am the program director at Springfield College AmeriCorps. Very happy to be here. And did we do the table as well? So I'm with my great assistant program director as well, Sean. Yep. So thank you so much. Really happy that you are in Springfield. Previously, I was with the Springfield Boys and Girls Club on Peru Street, but this is also a really great organization.
The other club. This is
right.
What club? What?
Club serving youth. So being part of Springfield College AmeriCorps, we're still serving youth in Springfield, and we're really glad to be here. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
And
hi, I'm Tyre Smith. I work here as a youth development professional, and that's my uncle.
I'm related to most of the people in the room.
You guys, as many thank yous as possible. You heard thank you for out of my life, and thank you for opening the door for me to Boys and Girls Club and allowing me to help these kids here and be in more of their life. So we do appreciate you here in Springfield.
Keeping it in the family. Who didn't we hear from? Oh, please.
2 of us. So my name's Graham Dodd. I'm the director of the Education Initiative at Smith College, and I'm here with my colleague, Professor Sam Intrader. We are actually grantees through the Office of Research and Evaluation, and we are so fortunate to have the support of AmeriCorps to be pursuing a project that looks in particular at young people in teaching roles. So we're really excited to be connected with a number of folks in this room and to make some more connections.
Wonderful.
Great. And I'll just sort of say that we're here because Andrea Robles and Melissa Googe told us that we need to sort of connect with you. And then what an extraordinary occasion to be able to see you here.
Oh, I saw that on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
And
from our coalition,
yeah,
yes.
There you go. So thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Sam, let's do a quick photo. Senator, come up here, and then we'll get the whole table. Kashawn, come around here. And here, we'll...
We stand or
stand?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
They're trying to get the whole table. Okay, maybe the table sit. Table sit so we can get it. And but look that way. Everybody look that way.
If we can, I'm trying to get everybody in the picture.
Hey, Senator.
How are you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, come over.
Tallest one in the middle.
Can you see us?
Hey, Ed!
I love it.
All right, everyone look this way.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Great.
So I think you look this way?
Okay.
Not this way. Okay, hold on. We got a couple more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
You've got to introduce yourself. You've been taking photos at the Family Center for 40 years.
Yes.
That's Ed Cohen.
I know. So excited. Yeah, I know. All right. So, how are we doing on time? What time are we supposed to be done?
We're at 2:06. You're good to go.
Okay. All right. So that was beautiful to see who's in this room. Like, what an extraordinary collection of Springfield's finest, people that have been making a difference for decades. I'm going to talk a little bit about AmeriCorps and why we're here and ways that we can help. And Emily's going to talk about our partnership here in Massachusetts with the Commission. But I just want to start off like with a grounding word of thanks. You know, I talk about seeing memories everywhere. You know, I sitting in this room, I remember the board used to meet in this room, and I used to help Mama Morgan, who was the cook and chef here for many years, who's now 91 years old and still lives down the street, and I'd help her make cookies and quiche for the board meeting, because I wasn't in the gym very often, but I was in the kitchen with Mom Morgan.
And the pool.
And the pool, I swam. I did. I was on the swim team. I don't know if there were any trophies or medals.
Yes, we do.
But I swam. I did. You know, I think about being in the game room with Tony, our brother, our dearly departed brother, you know, with Connect 4 tournaments or playing bumper pool, and when the pool ball would fall off the table, he would yell, grab some, which meant grab a piece of plastic and sit in a plastic chair, because if you dropped the ball, you couldn't play pool anymore. You know, I think about learning how to make bracelets out of GIMP with Eminem and Susan Duncan. Yeah, I think about Mr. Barry, who ran our Keystone program. When I was young, I didn't know what sacrifice meant for an adult to spend their whole weekend with a group of kids that weren't theirs. And you just expect these things. And, you know, driving you in a van to Atlanta to go to a conference, or, you know, when Mr. Barry ran Camp Crafts, and we would take those number 10 cans that we would have in the kitchen, and he taught us how to make stoves out there. You know, I you know, think about being in the computer room where we were playing Oregon Trail and Lemonade Stand. You know, think about scavenger hunts with Gary Parks. You know, Nanette teaching me how to swim, learning. We didn't have computers. I'm not that old, but we didn't have computers in the office. And Marilyn Alexander used to make flyers with a typewriter. And she literally had clip art, which was a file of images she had cut out and then would tape on and Xerox. Wow. And I just think about how these experiences shaped me. Or I think about, you know, Mr. Dawson. And again, as you get older, what it meant to have this strong, smart black man that I got to see every day, who was the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club, who I remember when I was a counselor in training, I was yelling at the kids because I thought that's what I do. And he grabbed me and said, "Smitty, if you don't stop yelling at these kids, you're not going to be a counselor anymore." Or I remember I brought home a bad report card one day, and he said, "Damn, Smitty." But he then connected me with Melinda Pellerin, who became my tutor. Or I think about Carol Rawson, may she and Mr. Dawson rest in peace, who died too young, who was the executive director. And I think about, you know, I was a little boy, and I was getting in trouble. I was probably about 10 years old, and Carol called it the summer of my discontent. And I was volunteering in the preschool room, and someone started that and thought it was a good idea. I'd read to the kids, help with lunch and all that. And I loved it, and I had no desire to be with my group. And so all summer long, Carol was coming and was like, "Okay, you do that for an hour, now you go back to your group." And I know, I want to be here. And so we had this loggerheads battle at 10 years old and probably this 40-something-year-old woman. And so I wrote Carol a letter
That letter.
Which is shocking to me now that I think about it. And I wrote Carol a letter, and I said a couple things in that letter. And I said, this is supposed to be the place that beats the streets, because this was the slogan of the Boys and Girls Club back then. But I'd rather be on the streets than be in here. I also said, and the programming or something isn't fun, and one day I'm going to have your job and make it better. I think if my father and mother would have known about that letter, there would have been consequences. So Carol Rawson, what does she do? She doesn't call my parents. She doesn't suspend me. She wrote me back. And I still have this letter to this day. Wow. And Carol said a couple things in this letter that are guiding points to me to this day. She said, as far as you being in the preschool and not with your group, anybody can be a leader of people that are younger than themselves or is not as smart as they are. But a true leader learns how to lead their peers and people that are older than themselves. That's what she said to a 10-year-old in the letter, who had the audacity to write her. She also said, as far as you taking my job, it would be my hope that you would one day, and that more young people like you would go into youth development. So I am here today because of people like you that watered into us, who weren't looking for money, fame. No, you certainly weren't looking for money, notoriety, but wanted to make sure that kids like us, from communities that are often overlooked, often forgotten, could achieve their dreams, could have hope, could have opportunity, could have possibility, could one day work in the White House for President Obama, and then again for President Biden. That is only possible because of people like you in this room. And so I just want to start with a point of gratitude and say thank you, especially at times like this, in these past few years that we've been through. At times where I think many people would have wanted to retreat and say, you know what, I'm just going to go make some money and put my head down because I can't take any of this anymore. And you guys decided not to retreat. You decided to go in even more. So thank you, and thank you for giving me the privilege to be able to work with all of you.
So Mike, before you go on, I think while you were getting that letter, I was sitting in Mr. Dawson's office and I asked him for his job, and he told me to be careful what I asked for.
They're smiling down. They are smiling down. They are smiling down. I want to just talk a little bit about AmeriCorps for those of you who are not familiar. I know many folks that are in the room today are partners, but there are some people that came today who want to learn more. So we turn 30 next year. The agency was created by President Clinton. And the idea, and actually seeded in many ways by President Bush, the elder, with the White House office on, I can't remember what it was, service and volunteering that gave some of the first grants. And obviously that was such a big deal for President Bush, which led to his eventual Points of Light Foundation. But President Clinton decided there needed to be a federal agency that was fueling people power to make a difference in communities across the country. There were some programs that pre-existed the agency that were in different places across the federal government. RSVP, I think, is about 60 years old. Same with foster grandparents and senior companions. AmeriCorps Vista was actually created during the Johnson administration. The National Civilian Community Corps is the legacy of President Roosevelt's CCC. And so there were things that were happening already in the federal government. President Clinton wanted to move them under one umbrella and make sure they were getting resourced the way that they needed to. The other thing that he was seeing in the early 90s was the advent of some really interesting new programs that were taking core models to have a real evidence-based approach to how they were dealing with challenges. City Year, Public Allies, Teach for America, Youth Build, which was started in the late 70s but was growing in many ways. And so the idea was to create a federal agency that could double down on and ignite that work that was happening. Because we knew that when we invested in community, community invests in itself and the country is stronger. So fast forward nearly 30 years, AmeriCorps now invests about $1 billion per year. We have about 250,000 AmeriCorps members and AmeriCorps senior volunteers that are serving in around 40,000 locations across the country. We have 1.4 million alum, and as I've traveled this country, they are everywhere. They are in the White House, they are in Congress, they are in boardrooms, they are in, I met 3 members this morning in Connecticut that are training to be doctors, and they're starting as AmeriCorps members in public health. And so the wonderful thing about AmeriCorps and what we found is the beauty of AmeriCorps is not just when someone does a year of service, but when someone is using their year of service to make a real difference in the community, but also potentially changing their pathway, getting skills, getting new credentials, certification, getting their eyes open so that they change the game for themselves and maybe even their families. So that's what AmeriCorps looks like today, and we do our work through 4 major areas. One is what we call AmeriCorps State and National. By statute, by the legislation that created AmeriCorps, we give away about half of our grant dollars through our partnerships with state commissions. And that was intentionally done because no one wanted Michael Smith in Washington, D.C. deciding what is needed in Springfield, Massachusetts, or in the Zuni Pueblo in New Mexico, or in San Juan, Puerto Rico. It needed to be held and owned and decided by the local community, so these dollars were being helped to move local solutions. We also have AmeriCorps National Direct, so those programs like City Year, like Public Allies, like Reading Partners, they get dollars directly from AmeriCorps, and they then are able to spread their work all across the country. I mentioned earlier we have AmeriCorps Vista, which is working directly to build capacity for organizations that are working on poverty. We have our AmeriCorps NCCC, National Civilian Community Corps, which are residential leadership team. We have a team of about 12 to 15, usually 18 to 24-year-olds. We give them the keys to a 15-passenger van. We give them some training, and then we deploy them in about 6-week spikes to respond to urgent issues. So you might be fighting wildfires 1 6-week stint. You might then be working to build a house, another 6-week stint. Then another 6-week stint, you might be working testing and vaccination lines. And it's an extraordinary program where we actually pay for that whole experience for those members. And then people forget about our seniors programs. It's actually our largest program. Foster grandparents, usually low income, mostly women of color that are working in the early childhood education setting, as we had foster grandparents here at the club before AmeriCorps even existed. Senior companions that prove how vital they were to stay in touch with our seniors during the pandemic and making sure, and even now, staying in touch and keeping them healthy and active. And then RSVP, which is a more episodic volunteering program. Most AmeriCorps members get some sort of living allowance or a stipend, an education award, and training and certification. And we have some really interesting things that are happening. This is something that's very important to President Biden. We invested another $1 billion from ARP into the agency. We launched something called Public Health AmeriCorps, a $400 million partnership with the Center for Disease Control, where we are actually trying to move more AmeriCorps to work on urgent public health issues, while also giving them the training they need to become the next generation of public health workers. We have a new campaign with the Department of Education in the White House called the National Partnership for Student Success, where we know that AmeriCorps members help teachers in extraordinary ways and can actually have more of an impact sometimes because of their near-peer relationship or because of that grandma or grandpa relationship. I met a Pops this morning, one of our foster grandparents, and they're doing incredible work. It's actually our biggest set of AmeriCorps members. We have about 70,000 AmeriCorps members that are serving in about 12,000 schools across the country. And then there's really interesting things. We have 15,000 AmeriCorps members that are serving in climate-related fields all across the country, whether it's building green buildings or doing trail work in national parks. So that is the work of AmeriCorps now. Not only has President Biden made sure we had $1 billion additional dollars on top of the $1 billion we move every year, but he's also putting AmeriCorps in the center and responding to major national issues like those that I mentioned, or more recently, and responding to hate-fueled violence, because we know that service brings people together. We launched a new United We Serve campaign, because in addition to AmeriCorps members, we want more people serving in their communities. We have a new partnership with the Office of Personnel Management to make sure that more AmeriCorps members are going into federal jobs. Our FEMA Corps AmeriCorps program, actually 25% of them have been hired by FEMA over the past 10 years. So we are seeing more pathways, and we're going to do even more of that. So that's AmeriCorps now. So I wanted to give you a quick overview, and especially for those of you who are not here, who don't know AmeriCorps as well, but I want to turn it over to Emily to talk about what that work looks like on the ground with the Massachusetts Service Alliance.
Sure, thank you, Michael. And again, thank you for giving me a chance to chat with you guys. So as Michael said, so we act as the state commission here in Massachusetts. So we're one of 52 like organizations around the country, and it is our role here in Massachusetts to bring in the resources from the federal agency and make sure that we are getting them out to communities in fair, just, equitable, and compliant ways. So
you don't lead with compliance.
I did lead. That was my fourth.
Okay,
I got to fair, just, equitable, and then compliant.
It just kills everything else.
With it.
But our Inspector General would be happy. I'm going to tell her when I see her.
Just got to stick that in there. So it is really, really important to us. So our offices are in Boston, but we are statewide, and it's really important to us that we are getting our resources out across the state. It would be pretty easy to have them focused on the other side of the state just because of the infrastructure, but we've always made Springfield and Holyoke and Western Mass a big priority. So we've got several AmeriCorps programs out here. So we've got, Springfield College is here. We've got Literacy Lab, which was birthed with the Springfield College program, but then spun off. And we've got Teach Western Mass. So the folks from Smith, we've got 4 kind of teacher residency programs now, so I'm sure you know what they are in Massachusetts, but if you need any connection to those, we're really excited about being kind of on the forefront of helping to develop the next group of teachers in urban schools. So we've got 2 new programs this year, one through Clark, one through Framingham State, and then we've had a long-standing one called Boston Teacher Residency, and then we've got Teach Western Mass out here. So we really want to make sure we have our resources are getting out there. Those are some of our AmeriCorps programs. We've got folks up, Dial Self, which is up in Greenfield, but they've got 2 AmeriCorps grants now. One is a brand new one for this year, which is a restorative justice program. So they've been bringing in some members there. I think you'll meet tomorrow, at least one of those members serving in that program. And then out, if we go west even further, we've got a Habitat for Humanity program in
Pittsfield.
In Pittsfield, yeah. So that's a relatively new program too. So we're really excited to have them in our portfolio. But then, so that's our AmeriCorps world, and what we really think at MSA kind of in a spectrum, because we want to touch every organization throughout the state that could benefit from having volunteers and Corps members. So on one end of the spectrum is AmeriCorps. That's kind of a little bit of the holy grail, right? You've got members that are going to serve with your organization for, close to a year, might do multiple service. And then, on the other end, we do a lot of training and technical assistance. We run a conference every other year to make sure that folks are learning about any new best practices in volunteerism. We have a volunteer management certification program, which is called the Service Enterprise Initiative. Michael didn't mention, but the agency has a grant called the Volunteer Generation Fund grant, which we have made good use of for many, many years now and hope to continue to do so. And we use that to really make sure we're hitting organizations of all different sizes across the state. So during the early days of COVID, we went out the door with a COVID-19 resiliency grant. Over the course of 3 grant cycles, we supported close to 70 organizations, and those were small grants, really low barrier to entry. We love AmeriCorps. It's a hard, complicated federal program. We want to make sure that you're getting to know us and learn how to kind of manage a small federal grant before you might be in a position to take on a big one. So smaller grants that we have a youth development volunteer initiative, which we've had Girls Inc. Of the Valley a number of times have gotten that grant. That's a $10,000 grant. So we kind of have this sort of continuum. Getting a little bit closer to AmeriCorps is our Commonwealth Corps program. That is a state-funded program. We're really proud to be one of the maybe few states that have a state-supported core-based program. So we don't use any federal resources directly for that. And that is a program that we have targeted to smaller organizations that would have trouble managing a full-blown AmeriCorps grant. We know there are a lot of organizations that could benefit from having a focused core member serving with them. In that case, an organization can apply for 2 to 4 full-time members or 3 to 8 half-time members. Much lower barrier to entry, and a similar model though. We have folks serve for 10.5 months. We provide a stipend, a living stipend, and a completion award as opposed to an education award at the end. That actually is the next thing that's sort of coming up for us. So I wanted folks to know about it. There'll probably be the host site application will come out in January, but we start doing information sessions. So there's one coming up on November 17th if folks want to learn about Commonwealth Corps. And I guess what I would maybe leave you with is making sure that you are all signed up to receive our e-newsletters, our constant contacts. We don't inundate you, but that's how you would learn about any opportunities we have. So everything I've mentioned, that's how we push it out. So we really want to make sure that you are on our email list, and you can sign up via our website, which is www.mass-service.org. And so you'll get notifications when we've got information sessions. We've been giving out planning grants to help organizations develop AmeriCorps programs. We've got, I think, 5 active planning grants going on right now. So we know that taking on a federal program is a leap for organizations. We're here to help support that and to make sure that you have the ability and the resources to access these resources that we want to really make sure we're getting out to you. So I've got a little one-pager here, which I will leave, and has some of what I've talked about. And then we just really want to hear from you, and reach out at any point, and we're happy to help folks talk about any of the opportunities that we have available to you. So.
Thanks, Emily. I want to give Sean and some of the other existing AmeriCorps partners a chance to talk about what the work looks like on the ground. Before I do that, though, any questions for Emily or me about the overall setup or what it means to work with AmeriCorps or Mass Service Alliance?
We couldn't have done that good a job.
I think we did. We're good at our jobs. Sean, you want to kick it off? Just talk a little bit about what the work looks like?
Sure, and also we have Alicia, our program director, here
Great.
as well, so we'll kind of both talk about what our program does. So at Springfield College AmeriCorps, we have members and we place them in the Springfield Public Schools, and we also have a member here at the Boys and Girls Club, and Raven is our site supervisor, so fantastic to see some closely connected faces here. And I just met Ginger, who is an alum of our program as well, so that's fantastic. And what they're doing is they're mentoring and tutoring in the Springfield Public Schools, serving our students in K through 12. Like I said before, I'm a product of the Springfield Public Schools. My kids came up through the Springfield Public Schools, so I'm so happy to see and support our members doing service in the Springfield Public Schools. And I wanted to give Alicia a bit of a chance to talk to as well.
Yeah, so our biggest need in Springfield is social emotional engagement, mentoring and tutoring, with the ultimate goal of improving grades, attendance, and behaviors in the public Springfield schools and in after-school programs like the Boys and Girls Club. One of the benefits that we have is being in the school systems, we target our Masters of Social Work program and our Masters of Adjustment Counseling. So those interested students are able to use our program to go into the public schools, utilize the skill sets that they're interested in, as well as our professional development emphasizing on social service, focusing on service and volunteer engagement as well, and supporting the public schools in the counseling departments. So all of our partnerships in the public schools are targeting the counseling departments. They're given a cohort of students where they measure their outcomes for the entire year. And we have measured out that there is a change in their behavior, in their grades, and in their attendance. And we focus primarily on the schools with high risk, high needs, tier 1 schools. And our members are also community members. So they're not only from Springfield College. We do engage outside the school system. And again, it wouldn't be from the partnerships like Boys and Girls Club Family Center with their mission aligning with ours. It's with the connected missions that we're able to expand and serve more kids. And it wouldn't be from the team here at the Family Center to get this, get our programs beyond the schools, because we might not be able to reach every single student during the school day, but it's from institutions like this that we're able to reach more students that we might not be in their schools, but they're able to be serviced in other avenues. And again, site supervisors like Raven help ensure that professional development is happening weekly. And yes, we do engage in orientation, monthly meetings, monthly trainings, end of year recognition. We do ensure that there's service projects throughout the year, so that way members know that their service goes beyond the 4 walls, that there's a community that they can serve once they decide if they want to do a career in mental health counseling or adjustment counseling. So that's our program. We try to do an impact, whether they serve 1, 2 years. We even have a member that's serving 3 years right now. They keep coming back, we'll take them. We like their skill sets, and so we're excited to keep to serve Springfield. And if anyone has questions, we're here. Again, we're 2 full-time staff with 58 members, trying to serve a total of 850 students. That's the ultimate goal, and measuring over 400 students with their grades and attendance. So that's our ultimate goal every year to serve.
And how do you decide which nonprofits you work with?
Well, as we will work with any nonprofit, as long as they're serving youth between the grades K through 12. And if they're able and willing to have a site supervisor and committed staff like Boys and Girls Club that will dedicate space for our members to meet with potential students, that's our biggest need.
Do you find them or do they find you?
So the connection here has is a long history, so I can't attest to who found who.
I found them and they found me.
We do reach out to some organizations. The biggest need is ensuring there's a committed site supervisor that can help with the weekly check-ins for our members. That's our biggest thing, that professional development. So if there's anyone that's interested outside of this table, please, we will be more than glad to have a meeting with them.
And just the tidbit on the after-school part of out of school, the connection is deep with AmeriCorps, with the Springfield Public Schools, and also with the United Way of Pioneer Valley. We use a community data warehouse, so we are able to check the kids what they're doing in school and use it while we're in the after-school program with our AmeriCorps members and also with our site supervisors. So it's like she said, we're connecting all the points, and it's not as hard to do that, but it's also a big benefit to our kids and our youth and also our organizations that have that extra help.
Yeah, it's really, look, Emily said it a few times, AmeriCorps grants are not easy grants. It is your taxpayer money, and so Uncle Sam wants to make sure we are responsible with how it's used. So it comes with bureaucracy and hurdles, which is why I think these sorts of partnerships are so huge. And I imagine if the demand from nonprofits went up, you could apply for a bigger grant. We certainly have nonprofits that have 1 or 2 AmeriCorps members. That's actually often the case for our VISTA program. where you can, because the Vista AmeriCorps members work for the federal government, so it's a little less complicated. But I think these models are really promising, because Springfield College has the infrastructure to manage the federal grant.
Correct. I also think it's so powerful for the kids to have the members serving with them and to see service as an option, an opportunity for when they, take the next step in their journey. And I think just really, we always stress we want members to have gear on, like that the kids see them as, oh, you're an AmeriCorps member, you're a Springfield College AmeriCorps member, so I see you're branded still. That's our old logo, but it's all good. We're happy to have it out there. But that's really important, right? Just for
they gave us lots of swag when I was serving there.
Springfield College is always great about that. You'd send your busload of members to opening day, which is happening on Friday. We're excited to have you there, and we're going to see everybody in their swag and so.
Would any of the other AmeriCorps partners like to talk about your work?
I can. So we don't typically get a grant direct through there. It comes through Habitat International, and then they subdivide out to our affiliates. And so through that, we've had Vista and direct members that come out and work with us, which is great. My affiliate, we have a staff of 5, and we're trying to build 2 to 3 houses a year, plus do about 8 to 10 repairs per year. And so that's really hard with 5 people, so we rely on the volunteers. And having committed volunteers for that 10-month period is substantial. But we've also utilized the NCCC teams that come out as a group, and they're a lot of fun to have come out and stay with us. And you learn from them as much as you're trying to teach them and things like that. And then we partner with Service Alliance, who has funded some of our youth development programs that allow us to afford to have some of the AmeriCorps members come out and stay with us and things like that. But we also do a lot with the kids from Putnam and partnering. And so it's good for them to see this, because it might helps to put things in their head. If they go on to school, I could do this instead, and gets that educational award, and it exposes that to them, because a lot of them have no idea what it is. And so we've been able to work on that and just sort of developing our whole youth engagement. Basically actually started with a grant from Mass Service Alliance a few years ago that we had as the House Wrapped in Love, and went from there, and we've been able to grow what we're doing that now, whereas now I'm getting funding from places like Black & Decker and other companies to keep our youth programming active. And so it's been, the AmeriCorps is sort of like the founding part that came in and helped us to do that and really develop our youth volunteer programs.
Michael, do you think it's helpful just to, not to get too much in the weeds, but I think there's a little distinction between AmeriCorps Vista and AmeriCorps State and National, just because of different, the different scale of organizations. So with AmeriCorps Vista, Vista members can help you build capacity in your organization, right? So maybe you need some kind of outreach plan, or development, or how, engaging, like putting a volunteer program together. They can't do direct service, so they're not going to be with the kids, tutoring or mentoring or any of that. They're not allowed to do that, so that's considered direct service. AmeriCorps State and National is predominantly direct service, although we also have capacity building is an allowable kind of focus area, and we have some capacity building programs in Massachusetts, but most of them are direct service, and so that's where you're going to have members that could be, building a house or tutoring kids or mentoring and that sort of thing. And so sometimes having a Vista member can help you think about how you can develop a bigger, program, and just, kind of in that spectrum, the continuum idea too. Like we've had, and Commonwealth Corps is actually a nice combination. So we sort of expect members to do both, a little bit of capacity building and direct service. And volunteer engagement, and we've had a number over the year of host sites that have then gone on to develop an AmeriCorps program because they got their feet wet with a smaller program, and you see that, I think with Vista as well too. So I just thought
that's really helpful. If you are a smaller nonprofit, a medium-sized nonprofit, Vistas can be a lifeline because we know we do not invest enough in nonprofit organizations and the administrative side of operations. We expect our nonprofits to do so much with so little. And so that fundraising support, that strategic plan that you've been needing to write for 5 years, but you got to check the leak in the roof and the staff member just called out, like those are the sorts of things that are hugely helpful for Vista members. And the Vista application is easy. It is a concept paper instead of the much more complicated other AmeriCorps applications.
Yeah, it's not a competitive process.
I was gonna say, for that,
Yeah,
you wanna go to Rob, not me.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a
for this.
competitive process, so we can help you along that road. So if you feel like Vista is maybe the path forward, you come to us with an idea. Here's a need, here's an idea, or a seed of an idea. We can have a conversation around how would that work? How would that go from that seed to a project idea? And you tell us, like, this is what we have the capacity to do. We could supervise a couple of members. We couldn't manage a federal grant at this point. Vista potentially is a path forward there, but the non-competitive nature of it means that we can engage in a conversation about how to do it.
And Justin, you might like we have a bunch of cities. I was just talking to Mayor Breed in London, and Mayor Gallego in Phoenix, and Mayor Cantrell in Louisiana. All have large Vista teams working directly in the city that are managing. There's a new climate program that's being launched. There's a new basic income program. There's a pilot, and so we have a bunch of city partners as well that you can use Vista for.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Vista is great when you want to do research on how to take that next step to launch something, because you can have them, working on the research side of it and just policy side and implementation and kind of getting your platform set for when you get ready to go and launch. And so whenever we've been looking at sort of some new direction or new programming that we want to do, that's when the Vista role comes in to be really helpful with designing that.
The other thing I'll add too is, on the flip side, if you know folks in your community that you think doing a year of service would be a great opportunity for them, it's sometimes hard to navigate to figure out where you can serve, and depending upon what you're interested in and where you can be geographically, that sort of thing. And while we don't sort of generally sort of do that on a big scale, we're really happy to talk to people. I mean, I've probably talked to the young person of so many different people who come to me and say, "Well, you talk to my son about this," and I'll say, "Yeah, I'll talk to your son. I won't talk to you, but make sure if your son calls me, I'll talk to them." But honestly, if you want to reach out, to me, or I'm sure anybody in the regional office, to just say, "Hey, how do I navigate this?" or "How can I suggest to this young person that maybe they want to look at service? Here's the kinds of things they're interested in." I'm really happy to do that as well, because that's sort of on the other side, right? We can get the positions, but we have to also fill the positions.
So I'll just mention too, as a person doing service, a lot of retirees do a year of service or 2 years of service. There is a stipend, which is very nice. Something that a lot of people don't know is that the education award can be passed on to your children and grandchildren. And that was something that I found hugely helpful. So.
And we
if you're thinking about it.
Can it be passed on to this grant? Or is that a conflict of interest? Taiki, I was gonna say, I'm about to put you on the spot, so get ready. I think, what's our education award, about $7,000 right now?
Yeah, it's tied to the Pell Grant, so as that changes, but it's about that.
So look, if you're going to Georgetown, it probably doesn't help too much, depending on what your financial aid package is.
They offer a 25% tuition discount to all AmeriCorps alumni.
Thank you, Sam. We have a Schools of National Service program. We have about 300 schools across the country that provide some sort of preference or benefit for AmeriCorps members and alum.
So, Mike, I know there's programs for AmeriCorps for kids in high school that do volunteer work through AmeriCorps. Is that active?
So there used to be something called Learn and Serve America.
Yes.
That actually got defunded in 2011, I think. It was great, but the economy was different, and Congress stopped funding it.
So here's my issue.
But let me just say this though, Keyshawn, there is nothing stopping any AmeriCorps member from creating service learning programs in schools, working in partnership with young people. That is still completely possible using our dollars. We just don't have the tranche. It was like $50 million, I think.
Yeah.
We don't have that tranche of money anymore to provide essentially what was mini grants to teachers to manage these projects.
But we're starting to do that here, though, in Massachusetts with our resources. So giving out some small grants around service learning. So keep an eye out in that your inbox from us, too.
That was my next question for you guys. Do you see any funding issues in the near future nationally that would impact you going to each state to state? Because Congress is ever changing. They're always looking to cut nonprofit funding or educational funding. Do you see that being a problem with your organization moving forward?
The great thing about this agency, the former president, I'll leave it at that. The former president before this one was not a fan of AmeriCorps.
Right.
The only president since Bill Clinton who was not a fan of AmeriCorps. President George W. Bush loved AmeriCorps. He did 40 events with AmeriCorps. He used to meet winners of Presidential Volunteer Service Awards at the base of Air Force One in cities all across the country. President Obama had 2,000 AmeriCorps members on the South Lawn of the White House for the 20th anniversary. But this previous president wasn't a fan. Didn't matter. Because we have such incredible bipartisan support in Congress that the agency was still moving more than $800 million a year in grants. It mattered a little. Some funding streams got cut, some staffing issues were hard, but what we found, regardless of what's going to happen next Tuesday, we will have supporters on both sides of Pennsylvania Avenue and in both sides of the aisle. But when leadership changes, things like Learn and Serve America, that might not be exciting for me. But the agency, I think, has withstood the test of time.
Okay.
And that's mostly because people see the work that they're doing. And, like for instance, in the southeast United States with all the hurricanes and flooding, especially our conservative members of Congress, we had 40,000 AmeriCorps members serve over 10 years in New Orleans, in Louisiana and Mississippi after Katrina. Wow. And so they see the power of service up close and personal. Good.
We had NCCC members here when, this is a bunch of years back now, but you guys, there was these tornadoes.
Yes.
So we had a team out here for quite a while. Luckily, I'm probably going to be sorry I say this, natural disasters don't hit Massachusetts. I know, we'll knock on that wood over there. But they happen, and we had
the earthquake.
But we did bring folks out here, and I will say also, we have a really supportive Massachusetts delegation at the federal level, but also the state level. So I'm sad Senator Lesser didn't win for a lieutenant governor seat, and he's leaving the Senate. But he's been our champion for years, and we're able to match. We have to match federal resources we get from these guys, and so our state resources allow us to do that. But then beyond that, allow us to run our Commonwealth Corps program and to provide more grants. And we are trying to get more into service learning, and as you mentioned, because even though it's not being funded at the federal level, we recognize it as really important, and so we've carved some of that out of our Volunteer Generation Fund grant for the last few years to support service learning.
Tyke, I was going to put you on the spot. So Tyke just finished his Youth Build experience. Many Youth Build programs are AmeriCorps programs. This one is not. The way Youth Build operates is when a site is first getting off the ground, they have to prove themselves first before they can apply for AmeriCorps dollars. And so Tyke was a part of the inaugural class with Youth Build New North Citizens Council. But the program is the same. And Tyke, I just wondered if you would share a little bit about your experience. And what I love is the skills that you've gained over the time.
Yeah. I started Youth Build back in the summer of 2021. I am actually one of the longest Youth Build members. It's only 3 of us. There's a lot of people wasn't able to stay throughout the journey. As you said, I've grown a lot, and I've grown a lot of skills. I am certified in 9 different fields. I am a licensed carpenter. I am a weatherization tech, a chemist, and a building scientist. Youth Build alone just makes a family. I've heard a lot about stipends and everything. We get a stipend used to get a stipend every other week, which I guess just helped motivate it a lot, and that's the truth. You don't go to, Putnam, Commerce, Central, anywhere and get paid to go. So that was one of the best things, and the family and the love that came from it. I've been able to network with multiple people. I've met multiple senators. I've had meetings with the state delegation, all because of Youth Build. Just the opportunities, it's like there's no ending. As long as you put in that time and that effort, it's there. And I owe a lot of where I am now to Youth Build.
And so within a year, like truly marketable certifications, and now you are.
Yeah. Sorry.
What are you doing now?
Oh, now I work at B Alpha Construction. I am, like I said, a weatherization tech, building scientist, and chemist. I just started last week, and I'm going to start as crew leader within the next month. And like I said, that's all because of Youth Build. And at Youth Build, I served as the student council president, the first one ever, and hosted events and everything, and was able to put myself out there in the community because of them in that short amount of time. And as like I always said, it's about the effort. And you can have opportunities and you can lead a horse to water, but if that horse doesn't drink, you know what I'm saying?
I know. I put his head into the stream, but it took Youth Build to make him drink.
There's also a relationship with EverSource that is very supportive of your team.
Massive too. Yeah,
Massive. Yeah.
Any questions before we wrap up? Any final questions or comments?
I just wanted to make a quick comment. I just realized in my introduction I forgot to mention that I was the first AmeriCorps class at Springfield College.
Oh, really?
20 years ago.
Wow.
Yes. And so at the time, I don't know if you were there then.
No.
They were trying to sort of learn this new sort of piece and what to do. And so we were called literacy
Corps.
Literacy course. And so we went into the school system. And so we had a lot of students from like Russia at the time and Somalia. So we were helping those students with like language development, and that really propelled me to get into the classroom. So I was just thinking about sort of, and then they brought me back to be a trainer and brought me back to be a supervisor at my school. So just thinking about AmeriCorps and how fundamentally this program has been so great for not only Springfield but just around the world. And I was just thinking about 20 years ago. I was the first class ever,
and look at
I
you
got
now.
my master's
That's
degree in
right.
education. So I
That's
mean,
right.
it's
the
fundamentally
power
great.
of AmeriCorps.
Yeah. Ta-da.
Sonia, and then we'll go here.
What I wanted to add is that, as you stated, there's not really any AmeriCorps programs at the high school level. But no matter what our children's ages are, start teaching them about service and giving to others, and that will grow up. And AmeriCorps will be there for them.
That's right.
On the other end, but we have to learn how to teach, no matter what the age.
Yeah.
About giving back to the communities and service.
And what's funny is when you're that young, like I think about all the things I did to service at the club. I didn't know it was service. I was here, and I was told, move this box, go help these people, be here on Saturday morning for share to give out to them. Got nothing else to do. This sounds great to me. And slowly it becomes a muscle that you build. Yeah.
And then understanding that you are giving back.
Yeah.
Help Miss Williams. Miss Williams walk to the car, carry her back.
Are you Miss Williams?
No.
And one more question or comment over here?
So, I work in the Berkshire County, and I work with youth. And the challenge in the Berkshire County is that the youth they don't have support. There's nothing for them to do.
Where does Berkshire County begin?
Berkshire County begins Pittsfield.
Pittsfield,
Yeah,
okay.
Pittsfield.
Runs the-
No, wait a minute, let's go
Lee.
back. Lee.
Okay.
Starting from Lee, going all the way up to Clarksburg.
Okay.
In that area. So that's Williamstown. That's my entire community that I work with. And my children are lacking. And I find that AmeriCorps may be very substantial to their ability to serve, their ability to mobilize.
Mm-hmm.
So whom do I speak to? Is it Emily and Bob? Rob? Yes?
Either
Okay.
and both.
Okay.
So do we have everyone's emails? Can we send out contact information
We can
afterwards?
get that.
Yes, we have that included on the sign-in sheet.
Okay, okay.
Also handing out packets
Okay.
with how folks can get in
Okay, great.
touch with Emily and Rob.
Thanks, Sam.
Can I make two other?
Yes, yeah, please.
Also, as part of our regional office, Mary Lee and Jennifer Logston are here today. They're both portfolio managers, and some of the biggest things that we do are to help navigate all of the options, all of the different paths forward that Michael talked about, that Emily talked about, and we love doing that. So we're resources. Emily is a resource. We'll hang out for a little bit after today too, share contact info and answer questions too. But please do hit us up. We'd love to help with that.
Where? Yeah,
I just gotta say that we just like to thank Mary Lee because she's been working with Will and I for the last 2 weeks on closing out our last grant. But I just want to also just publicly say on behalf of so many volunteers across the country, FGP volunteers, that you've given us a raise from $2.65 to $4 an hour, which is a huge.
Still not
huge
enough, but
impact.
yes,
Right.
yes.
So thank you so much for that.
Of course. Look, I think about my own family, and the seniors are, for those of you who don't know, we are working hard to raise the living allowance for AmeriCorps members, but for foster grandparents and senior companions, it's absurd. This year it was $3.10 an hour. So we're going to change that, but yeah.
No, thank you.
Yes, we're moving
appreciate
in the right direction.
They do appreciate it.
Yeah, Vanessa.
So, the initiative that we have in Springfield, which is Trust Transfer Project, like I said, was birthed out of the pandemic. And we received an initial grant through Governor Baker's Urban Agenda Grant of $75,000, which we used to kind of build capacity and start messaging in Springfield utilizing artists. Then we received another grant from Communities for Communities, which is a collaborative grant effort that through the CDC as well. And then we received the CDC Foundation grant at the same time, which helped us to do a lot of work on the ground in the community, build vaccine confidence, and also really initialize the next phase of our movement, which we really want to address is mental health, particularly among young people, and really deal with the residual effects of the pandemic. We believe that we can empower the people in the community to, if they can find their purpose, it improves your well-being. You know, if I know what I want to do, if I know how I want to serve, where I can make a difference, it improves my well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And so how can we activate the community through Trust Transfer Project, which is an organization that, initiative that was formed for a different purpose, translate that we want to activate people to a life of service. And it starts with maybe just 1 year of service, but then we're grooming people to live a life of service, particularly young people. We want to re-engage them and dream, allow them to dream again, allow them to find where they can make a difference with their peers and help seniors. So we want to link up seniors with young people and build that relationship and the power of that relationship, multi-generational power and relationships. And we believe that we can do that through some type of program that really allows folks to have a way in and a way to say, I want to serve here, I want to serve there, but I don't know how. And if we can just really get some information about how we can activate a program in Springfield that uses artists also and the power that they have to convey messages of hope and healing, and to just mobilize seniors to express themselves, to just make it through the day. Sometimes we just want to link up people together. So how do we kind of get information about activating a program like that.
Connecting with your
It's a
team.
lot, right? That's loaded.
I'm gonna call you, just so you know.
And-
I see your connection.
Yeah.
I would really love Rob to talk to your office because Vanessa is so kind-hearted. She's exhausting me. No, but I think it'd be really cool to figure out if it would fit for us to apply for a VISTA grant to have someone who could look at the trust transfer program and help build in the service aspect from the knowledge of AmeriCorps' perspective, so that we can, use the knowledge that we've gained through trust transfer paired with the knowledge of the service side on how to get youth engaged in that way too.
For sure. I mean, we will say all the time, we're not experts on Springfield. We're experts on how does national service potentially fit with the idea and need that you have, and it would be fun to have a conversation about how to do that.
I would also really encourage you to attend the Commonwealth Corps information session. It'll be virtual on November 17th, because Commonwealth Corps could be a good program for you to have, maybe 2 people who are really helping you build this out. As not to say, instead of, or it could be in addition to, we have had Commonwealth Corps members serve alongside VISTA members in a number of organizations, and just bringing sort of different power to that organization. So I would say just please make sure it's mass-service.org. Write that down, go on our website today, sign up to get our constant contact, and then so you'll know when we're doing those information sessions. The host site application RFP will be in January, so you want to use this time. That's when it'll come out. Yep. You'll have some time to respond, but you want to kind of use this time until then to explore and see, like, might this be a good program for us?
The federal agency also has a planning grant out right now, which I think is max of $250,000. And the interesting thing about that planning grant is, if you decide at the end of the planning grant period that this didn't work out for you, you're not obligated to create an AmeriCorps program. You could say, I want a planning grant because I want to see how restorative justice could help with migrant workers and whatever. It's pretty diverse, and we hope the end will mean you'll find out something great you can do, but it's not required. Again, grants from us a little bit more complicated, but maybe worth checking out.
And we will probably also put out another planning grant opportunity in the spring. We try to kind of line them up with when you would then potentially be applying for an AmeriCorps program. I think the agencies is due pretty soon. It's really
in a couple
soon,
weeks.
Like in a week or 2.
November 14th.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, but there might be a different bite at that apple through us a little bit later in the spring too.
So I will close again by saying thank you for all that you do. Thank you for those of you that literally raised me, Nana, Dad, Barbara. And thank you for allowing me to come home. And my last message here is we've got resources in the federal government, in partnership with the commission, and we have team members that have servants' hearts. That are willing to work with you. We are not a nameless, faceless federal agency. They mean it when they say, if you have an idea, we will work through it with you. I think they would probably say it's the best part of their job. And so please take us up on our offer and follow up if there are ways that we can be helpful. And I also hope there were some opportunities that were sparked for folks to work together. Maybe new partners with Springfield College, maybe something new with service. Mr. Cade, you'll talk to my grandmother about Boston grandparents.
I was going to do that with him. I think he's going to win.
And so thank you. Keyshawn, any final thoughts before we do a photo?
Yes. Just for you guys to know that there's going to be a lot of change in Springfield. My biggest thing is we got to make sure we do a lot more with our own with AmeriCorps. It's important that we stay connected. We have a leg up on a national level. Expose it and exploit it as much as possible. We didn't do a great job when he was with Obama with the My Brother's Keeper initiative, which really upset me. And I called him and said, "What can I do to just host it here?" And it had to be a different initiative. But this time, It's in our hands. So we have to take advantage of it. Like Michael said, the resources are there. It's on us to make sure that we put our best foot forward and get those resources and have Springfield really flourish with what we need. It's here. It's right here in front of us. This is why we're here. It's not us hoarding the information for the Family Center. It's for all of us.
Here, here.
This is how we come together as a community. So with that said, can we please transition outside of the building to take a group photo with Michael? That's what we want to do. But Michael will be staying for a little while longer. He's going to be doing some things with our kids. We do have some Laotian food coming later. So if you decide to come back around 4 o'clock.
We didn't have Laotian food when I was growing up in Springfield. That's a
this is us
new
connecting
thing.
our community. But I want to say thank you to everyone coming here. Like I said, to my brother, you know, I love my man coming in here. Justin, thank you for everything that you do. Andrew Cade, like I said, this is one of the guys that has done tennis through our city, has done so many great things. I always try to make sure that we put our best foot forward to make you guys proud because you put the groundwork for us.
Thank you.
And Michael, thank you so much for always being the leader that you are. And I can't wait to see what you do with AmeriCorps, and I can't wait to see what Springfield does for you.
Amen. Thank you.